Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome to this week's LinkedIn Live series, Voices of Leadership. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Carrie Nauyalis, and I'm a strategic coach. And I bet you're thinking this looks a little bit different than normal. And it is true. We are turning the tables. Kathy always does such a great job of bringing in such intriguing leaders into the series every Friday to talk about leadership. And this week, we are going to turn the tables, and Kathy will be in the spotlight as part of that to really dig in. And this is meant to be an interactive session. If you've never attended one of these Voices of Leadership series events, so in the chat, please put in your city that you're joining from. And our question for this week is, what do you think the most important leadership trait is? So jot that in the chat, and I'll be very interested to see where everybody's joining from and what you think the most important leadership trait is. And maybe Kathy will start that question with you in a minute, but I want to introduce my friend and colleague. So here's the thing. Kathy and I have known each other for decades. So for me to, yeah, I know it makes us sound old, right?
Yep.
But we are not. We are young
No,
spring.
we're young. We're young.
Fabulous.
Mhm.
And I think that if you don't know her, you really should, because the thing is she will kind of wreck everything that you think about leadership. You know, it is not the vision boards and the decks and the buzzwords. That's not it. She is going to kind of set you straight on what that is. Kathy is a leadership strategist, an executive advisor, and the powerful force that is behind E equals Y. She spent 30 years across E&Y, HPE, startups, which is where we met, and C-suite roles, figuring out why strategies fail. Her answer on why strategies fail is the E3 leadership code, a way to build trust, real accountability, and actually get things done without losing your teams in the process, which is critical. So through speaking, facilitation, executive coaching, she really equips leaders to strengthen culture, improve execution, and deliver meaningful results at scale. So she's committed to leading with both head and heart. And Kathy serves on several purpose-driven boards, including Disrupt HR and Conscious Capitalism New York City. So welcome to your own podcast.
Thanks, Carrie. This is like weird listening, being the one sitting here and listening to the intro.
Ta-da! How fabulous. I'm going to throw you off here and say, I really do want to know, what do you think the most important trait is for leaders to have?
I think the most important thing is self-awareness.
Mm,
If
yeah.
I had to pick one, it's just, and it's awareness of yourself, like so truly self-awareness, but also how you're perceived, like how people, see you, and
Mm-hmm.
then how other people are showing up. Like if nothing else, awareness is the number one thing I think the great leaders really excel at.
So any of you who put that in the chat, you get a gold star for today. You can take the rest of the day off. You're good to go. So yeah, from the expert. So tell everybody a little bit about what is the E3 leadership code and why is it important, like to everybody, but also to you?
Yeah, so when I think about what happens for most people, like there's numbers, the stats sometimes stagger me. It was the first time I heard the stat, it was 8% of people fail to meet their goals, right? And I was like, wait a minute, that can't be real, right? So another stat came up and said, well, 12% of organizations, the balanced
Okay,
scorecard,
it's flipped, right? 8%
12%.
of people achieve their goals.
Correct. Sorry. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. 92% fail
yeah,
to
got
meet
it.
their goals. Yes. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And then it's like 88% was the balanced scorecard. Like, and so I'd have debates with people and like, okay, what's the real number? So we settled with less than 30% of people
Mm.
are actually succeeding in delivering on their goals. So I'm like, well, wait a minute. I've been part of projects that have absolutely succeeded and projects that have failed miserably. So I know what good looks like. There has to be something here. We have to figure out what it is. And that's when I started looking at there are repeatable things that the great leaders do over and over again to drive success. And that's how I created the E3 leadership code, which is that repeatable system for leaders to follow so that they can ensure success and be part of that. I call it the E3 edge, that 30% that are achieving their goals.
The edge.
Yes.
So why is this important to you?
Because we all want to deliver results, right? There's nothing worse than wanting, having this great vision and not seeing it come to fruition. And that has been something that really just breaks my heart, quite honestly. And because I've set my mind to certain things and I've been able to achieve it, and that feeling of success is amazing.
Yeah.
And that's my personal mission in life, is to inspire and enable everyone to be able to win and to have that success.
Love it. Love it. Can you break it down, the E3, and like what are those E's?
Sure. So the E3 leadership code, I like to visualize a stool. A three-legged stool is probably the best way I like to explain it. So there's express, engage, and execute are the three legs of the stool. And the seat on top that holds those legs is the emotional qualities.
Oh, that's good.
I like that.
I mean, it's just a good visual for people who are visual people instead of like auditory, to be able to visualize it that way. I never thought about it like that.
Yeah, that's the way it's easy for me to explain it when you don't have the picture.
Yeah.
Obviously, the picture I love is the Venn diagram where they're all interrelated and the heart is at the center holding it all together.
Nice.
And so the way we break it down is, first and foremost, expressing an end vision. Where are you going? Why are you going? What does it look like? And what's going to be different when you get there? And I challenge people to really think idealistically and not realistically. What does that end goal look like? And this is something you and I have worked with on coaching, right? When you help me with strategy work, where are we going? Because when you know where you're going, then you can look backwards and figure out how are we going to get there. Too often we sit there and we think about only the next logical steps, and it hampers us from moving forward.
Yeah.
So first leg of the stool, express the end vision, where we're going.
Got it.
Now you got the strategy. Now you need the people on board.
Yeah.
You can't do it alone.
Nor should you try.
Exactly. And even if it is your own project, right? This works for an individual, it works for teams or organizations, but you can't do it alone. The more people you tell about what you're going to achieve, the more likely you are to succeed. But if you're leading a team and your goal as a team is to deliver results, now you need to make sure you have the buy-in from all of your team members, from your peers, from your boss, from the other functions. So that's the engagement. That's the second E, engagement. Making sure people are bought in, making sure they understand what you're doing. They're clear in their roles and responsibilities. They've confirmed it. So now you've got everyone on board. And you're speaking their language, by the way, not just how you want to communicate. That's a whole nother one we'll talk about a little bit more. And the third E is execute. So great idea. Everyone's excited. But if you don't execute, it's just an idea on a piece of paper. And so that execution is where the rhythm comes in, the structure, the governance, having the difficult conversations, making sure you're eliminating roadblocks, bringing resources, right? Those meetings, those regular meetings with your team and saying, what's working, what's not, what help do you need? And too often we just get bored. We don't want to do that repetitive, work to make sure everything's happening. And we go, we'll just go pick another idea. Or we're surprised. Like, we had this great idea, but it never happened. Well, you didn't follow through. You didn't hold anyone accountable. You didn't, do the reporting. You didn't do the hard stuff. So those are the three E's. And the most important part is the emotional qualities. This is what brings people to the table. This is the empathy. This is caring. This is empowering people. It is being authentic, because people follow emotions. They don't follow logic. You know, we don't show up because someone told us to. Well, we might,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
we're
We're
going.
not brought in.
Exactly. So the emotional qualities is what's so powerful for leaders.
Mm.
And if you want a high performing team, it's been proven that you need to have this balance of all of these elements to succeed.
Head and the heart, baby.
Absolutely.
It's funny you say that because I'm thinking about an example that I'm dealing with right now in corporate environment. And I'm not the leader of that group, but I think because I'm familiar with the system and it's kind of like in my brain so often now, is that I am begging the leader to say, can you back up and say, paint the vision again? It's, yeah, we painted the vision 6 months ago when we started this project, but like, can you ground everybody back into why we're doing this and what the elements are that we're trying to deliver instead of kind of being scattered all over the place? So, with this, in my example, like, what do you see people doing wrong, even the ones who think that they're doing it right? Like, what are they missing?
We get busy,
Mm,
right? Pressure comes into play. And the first reaction often is, we went through this. It's just, I don't
mhm.
have time. Right. So your reaction is go read the deck. We went through, I told you 6 months ago. And it's like, yeah, but so much has happened since then.
Yeah.
And we get caught up and we forget.
Hmm.
And we drift from the real basics that we have to be doing over and over again. I mean, a strategy should be looked at on a regular basis,
Yeah.
and that's when you reprioritize because things are coming at us so fast. Right. And then people are saying to me, they're like, well, I'm too busy to do that. Well, are
Mm,
you working on the right things? Is
yeah.
that part of what the vision is? Is that going to help you move to the end result?
Mhm.
And they're like, oh, yeah, I never thought about this. I'll give you an example. So one time we were challenging a team and we had to get $2 million more of revenue. And a lot of people automatically go to the things they're used to doing. Right? So they're like, oh, we have to drive 2 million. We normally average deal size 200,000. We have to do 10 deals. And I sat down with the team one day and I said, okay, 2 million, no constraints. You have a magic wand. How do
Mm,
we get to 2 million without specifically telling you what to do? Think out of the box.
mm,
And someone raised their hand. They're like, well, wait a minute. If we just got one deal for 2 million, we're done. And I'm like, well, there you go. Well, how are we going to get the two? And
yeah.
suddenly the ideas started flowing and we got to the end goal a lot quicker than trying to do what we were always trying to do.
Mm.
And, leaders need to keep coming back to what are we trying to do and why? Because
Why?
why? And
E equals Y.
why? And that's what grounds folks in
Yeah,
that.
that's no doubt. So in this landscape right now, gonna turn left a little bit on you. Like everybody is talking about AI and like that meme is real. AI, 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 like everybody's talking about that. But like I think people think that about AI in terms of like how it's going to replace jobs and all of this threat. Where is the context in terms of AI and leadership?
I mean, AI is real, and that's first and foremost. I want everyone to make sure that, this is not a fad. This is
Yeah.
here. But at the same time, it's another change that we're going through, which we've gone through before. You had automation, you remember Y2K, the world was going to come to an end, right? Like there's been change that we've had to deal with. But now the change is coming at us more rapidly.
Mm,
Jobs are absolutely at risk. I'd be lying to say that the
yeah.
structure of work is going to change. But this is why leadership is more important now, and human first leadership is
Mm,
more important because we need to help our people understand what is the vision, what is the strategy, what are we trying to do, and why,
mhm,
right? Because people need to know. Because
mhm.
in a vacuum, they're making up their own stories.
Yeah. Oh,
So
so true.
We've all done it, right? Well,
Yeah.
they haven't talked to us, so therefore my job's gone. Well, no, they just probably don't honestly know.
Mm,
But you need to have that conversation with your people to let them know. So, human first leadership now more than ever
mm,
is critical. And
yeah.
that means expressing the end vision, speaking the language of people, having the difficult conversations.
Mm,
I don't know what some jobs may go away. We're probably
yeah.
going to have to restructure. Here's how you need to um, invest in
Retool.
yourself,
Yeah.
retool, right? And then once you start implementing, you've got to follow through. I mean, this is the biggest change coming at us, the fastest
So
compared to
fast.
anything.
Yeah.
And so strong leadership is critical now. And
Mm,
that's the part that I keep trying to help people understand that in a vacuum, people are going to make up their own stuff. They're going to check out.
mm,
You need people engaged and, working more productively. So that's where this system comes back into play. Make sure you're hitting on all of the elements to
yeah.
be able to bring your team in, build the trust, and drive results.
Yeah. So to that point, and kind of going back to the E3 leadership system code, when have you kind of like applied this recently yourself, like in E=Y in your own company or with one of your clients?
I use it on a daily basis in everything that I do. I mean, first and foremost is the book,
Mm.
right? Writing this book, I had a vision, what it looked like, and I needed that express vision to come back to on a day-to-day basis because it's hard.
Oh
You know,
my gosh, so hard.
So when you want to accomplish something, you got to keep coming back. What am I doing and why? Who do I need to help? How do I engage? How do I keep coming back and holding myself accountable? How do I call upon those emotional elements, right? The courage, curiosity, authenticity, integrity, like all of that. So that's one way.
Yeah.
I mean, Carrie, even doing performance management reviews, people don't understand sometimes. They think performance management is after the fact, right? Someone screwed up. Performance management starts with expressing what good looks like,
Mm.
telling an employee, this is what success looks like. This is your job. This is why. This is your role. And then making sure they're bought into it, engaging them in that process, and then executing, following through, making sure they're delivering, measuring the results, rewarding them, congratulating them, and all the while connecting to their hearts. Everything comes back to no matter what you're trying to accomplish, you can apply the E3 leadership code to it. So individually, team, and as an organization.
Personal life too?
Don't tell my husband that, but yes. He's probably listening and I'm he's gonna go, your
You
your
now
management?
just let the cat out
Right.
of the bag.
Yes. We express what success looks like
Yeah.
as a family,
Yeah.
right? And we communicate differently for each other. And we keep going back to the to-do list. He hates the to-do list, but that's what keeps us on target,
Yeah. Yeah.
deliver results.
Absolutely. Even if it's a fun vacation as part of that and expressing like what you would love for vacation.
Mm.
Absolutely. Yeah. Here's kind of a left field question. What leadership habit have you seen like that instantly makes you think we've got work to do?
It's when a leader is so confident
Mm,
and has no idea what's being said about them. You know, it
ouchie.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. We've done some 360 reviews, and I can almost tell, like, if someone does a self-assessment and they rate themselves extremely high, they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm great at this." That is an immediate red flag for me because they're not tuned in to how they're being received. Almost every great leader assumes they have work to do compared to what their team members will say. And their
Mm,
team members think they're better than they actually are because uh, it goes back to that awareness. if you're always looking to be better, then you know that you may not be landing the way you want to, and you have an opportunity to grow.
Mm. Yeah. Oof. And you said something that's intriguing. So the greatest leaders, who have been some of the great leaders that you've had, and why did they make such an impact on you?
I've had a ton of great leaders. I mean, I could go back to my dad being an example, my coach, DePrima, my first manager, Stacy, like everyone really invested in me. The great leaders got to know me.
Mm,
They wanted me to succeed.
mm,
They took the time to help encourage me, enable me, and let me grow, right? And push me. Like the best leaders pushed me. It wasn't like this was an easy thing, but it was
yeah.
hard. But they
Yeah.
cared enough to try. And, the interesting thing, Carrie, I look back at all the leaders I've had, and I think I'm friends with all the great leaders that I've had. I mean, I go on vacations with them, pick up the phone, still calling them years later.
Wow.
And that says a lot. That it's
Awesome.
about building a relationship. And the same thing for people that have worked for me, right?
Mhm.
Like I am humbled when I talk to people that worked with me, and say, "Oh, you taught me that," or and a mantra of mine comes back up, "Oh, I always think of you of Kathy when I say assume no one wakes up with bad intent." That's what leadership's about, is
Mm,
inspiring people and really helping others grow, and you feel valued, you want to show up, you want to do more.
yeah, for sure. So you decided to put all of this into a book. So tell everybody about the book. By the way, which is available at kathyeastwood.com for pre-order right now. Go right now, kathyeastwood.com. We'll put it in the chat right now.
Yeah. Um, I
Thrilling.
it's still surreal for me to know that that's happening. Um, I mean, as long as I've known you, we've talked about this book. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember you calling me up. You were at a conference one day and you're like, Kath, I had the vision. You've got to write this book. I was at a wedding somewhere else and like, you're going to have a book on the New York Times bestseller list. I mean,
Oh, wow.
I've had this vibe around me for a long time, like, you have to
Mm,
write a book. And I really, for me, I wanted to help leaders have a place they could go, not just on the what and why. Like, I feel like we talk about what leadership is and why it's
mm.
important, but we often don't talk about how to do it.
Yeah.
And that's where I wanted to come back and provide some practical advice on how to be a better
Mm.
leader,
The
right?
how.
The how.
Mm,
You have to express the end vision. Okay, great. How? Sit down and write it out. Talk about how does it feel? What's going to be different? Like all of the questions that goes into expressing that end vision. So it's not quite a workbook, but it is really meant to help leaders think about all the things they need to do. And even like some of the management basics. Like I
yeah.
consider management's what you have to do, leadership is how you do it. And
Mm,
there's no real guides out there, in my opinion, that I've seen that bring both together.
yeah.
And I've talked to leaders before, and even myself, right? Like you learn through osmosis. Like
Hmm.
one of the numbers is only 45% of managers and leaders have actually gotten formal training,
Less than half.
less than half. So that so many people haven't. So now leadership is being learned through osmosis. And
Ooh,
hopefully you've had great leaders and you go, yep, I like that. Yep, I like that. I don't like that. I mean, we try to avoid some of the things we don't like. And
right.
let's be honest, a tough conversation, if it wasn't delivered well, we might avoid it because we don't want to ever feel that way.
Mm,
So now I become a manager of managers. And I remember that day, I'm like, what am I teaching my team?
right.
I don't have I know what I should be doing, or I know what's worked for my manager. I know what's worked kind of for me, but now I've got to teach them what they need to do. And suddenly trying to find those words of what are your roles and responsibilities? What does it mean when we say you need to connect to the hearts of others? There's not a lot out there. And so
Mm.
that's how I've been thinking about this is how do we provide a tool for us all? By the way, brand new leader
Yes.
to a
Yes.
CEO,
Yes.
even the CEOs that are great sometimes drift from the basics.
Mm.
So this book was really written to help everyone go back to, oh yeah, I forgot. Oh, yep. I got to say thank you. Oh, that's right. I need to be curious. Forgot about that one. Oh my God, I'm not speaking their language. You could
Mm.
read this book over and over again and be reminded of the things you need to do.
Yeah, meet you kind of where you are in terms of leadership and remind you of the basics as
Yes.
part of that. Boy, I can just envision this being part of like some leadership and management classes as part of MBAs and new hires and aspiring leader programs. Ooh, this is getting dreamy.
Well, I have to tell you, Ralph, and a lot of people do know Ralph on this call, but Ralph was like, I wish I had this 30 years ago.
Of course.
He ran his own business and he's like, oh, now I see the
Yeah.
opportunities. So, and the other thing, Carrie, that's really important for me is I come from an operational background. I'm a driver. I want to get stuff done. And as you know, I have a lot of red energy. And I think most of the folks on this call know I want to run to the fire. I want to get shit done. Right.
Yeah.
But what I've learned over the years is when you connect to the hearts of others, when you care, when you show up with empathy, that's how you're going to deliver the results. It's not an either or. And I find a lot of books nowadays are you have to deliver results at all cost. Performance, performance, performance. You got to be strong. You got to tell them what we're going to do. And then the
Yeah.
other side, it's like you need to care about your people. You need to take care of
Mm.
them, and it's an either or kind of conversation.
Right.
It's both. And that's what my goal is to help leaders really bridge that gap between, we have to deliver results. I am all about the results, but the way to get there is a systematic way to nurture your people, to care about your people. And when you care about your people, they're going to show up, they're going to give their all, they're going to be more productive, they're going to be more innovative, right? Because they want to help. And then they're happy. Your customers feel it. Your customers
Yeah.
like, oh,
And
they buy more, they refer you.
yeah.
Now you've got a profit on the other side. That's when your company grows. 23% more profitable as a business when you start with the people first.
Come on. If you remember nothing else from this discussion, please remember that the people are the way to what those revenue goals are as part of it. It's incredible. So, my friend, we're out of time, and I'm sorry. I've loved this, and hopefully we'll get to do it again when the book actually comes out, and I'll have another conversation about it. Very exciting. To those of you who have joined today, thank you so much for joining. You can keep following Kathy on LinkedIn and catch these Voices of Leadership series every Friday live at 11 Eastern. You can also watch them on replay, and you can go to E equals Y for more information about the company and the services that Kathy and the team provide, as well as kathyeastwood.com to get the book and share it with your friends and colleagues. Thanks so much for your time, Kathy. Thank you for inviting me to do this. It
Thank
was
you for
great to
doing
be
it.
on this side of it.
This was
Thanks,
so much fun.
everybody.
Thanks all.
Bye.
Happy leadership.